You're watching Business Today television. I'm Sakshi Batra and with me is Shel Bhatnagar. This is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand the closing action on the D Street. Well, it was a day that started off with a bang with the Sensex climbing above 75,000 mark for the very first time. The Nifty also climbing above 22,700. Record highs were also seen on the Nifty bank across the board as well, and many other sectoral indices also climbing in record high levels. But right now, as we inch closer to the end of the day's trade, the Nifty has slipped into the red with minor loss being seen on that one. 22,645 can be seen, although there's been an uptick from the day's low point. But again, there is a lot of volatility that we are witnessing as of now. Among the sectors, the ones that are not participating in the markets are PSU banks, FMCG, consumer durables, oil and gas, and the media index as well, and also the auto space that was soaring high yesterday and also was in the top gear in the morning trade has also slipped into the red right now. What's shining still bright is the metal space that continues to be in action, over 1% higher in trade for this one. Along with it, private banking space, realty, healthcare, financial services bank, and also the Nifty bank, all of them are still holding on to some gains as of now. The top movers on the Nifty at this hour are Apollo Hospitals, ICICI Bank, Hindalco, Infosys, Grasim and Tata Steel. On the other hand, when we look at the top drags on the Nifty right now, you will see a whole host of heavyweight counters like Titan, Reliance Industries, Asian Paints, even Tata Consumer Products. And then you also have Adani Enterprises and BPCL, Coal India among those top losers at this hour. But a lot of action, like I said, is in the metal space. Share.
Let's look at the trades that we had decided upon early morning, and one of them was based on the weekly expiry of FinNifty, the 21,700 call, which was trading somewhere like 34 rupees, was highlighted early morning, and the theme was that this would go down to zero. You'll see the price that is there in front of you. At the moment, it's touched a low of 4 rupees. It's somewhere in the vicinity of 6 rupees at the moment. So ladies and gentlemen, the trade draws to a close, and this is how on expiry day you look at exhausting the time value of a particular call which is at the money, and this is exactly what has happened. The index hasn't moved any which way as far as today's trade is concerned, the FinNifty, and because it was the best performing index over the last 1 week or so, up about 1.7%. Within the indices that are listed on the F&O space, there was a likelihood that it won't move an inch, and exactly that's happened. So let's draw this trade to a close, and let's focus on two which are already up and running. One is Infosys. Remember, on Friday, TCS reports its earnings, and Infosys today has started bouncing from its 200-day DMA. Given the selling pressure that we've seen in the market, the stock has corrected all the way back to 1493, but the 1500 Infosys call expiring April 28th remains the top draw, and that is something that you should keep in mind. We've caught this call early morning. At the moment, it should be floating at about, let us see, yes, 43 rupees. We'll keep this in mind over the next 1 or 2 sessions, and let us see where it heads. The all-time high for this call, as we've stated earlier, is 153. The other stocks that need to be mentioned, of course, is BEL. The defense space remains the top draw. While there is profit booking happening on the 3 shipbuilders, it's BEL which is marked a fresh record high, 226.85. And amongst the stocks that have hit record highs, there are 22 on the National Stock Exchange NSE 500 index that are doing pretty well. Joining us today is Aditya Agarwal. He's the head of research and investment at investforedu.com. Good morning to you, Mr. Agarwal. A very warm welcome on Market Today. How do you see sentiment on Dalal Street? Anything that catches your fancy for today or for the remainder of the week?
Good afternoon, Sakshi. Good afternoon, Shell. Thanks for on the show. It looks like markets have entered into again a consolidation phase, and this has been the order from last year, October. If you see, every time market hits a new all-time high by barely few hundred points, it again witnesses some kind of a profit booking, and this is what we are witnessing in trade today as well. Market made a new all-time high at the opening, and from there we've just seen markets cool off a bit. It will be important to see how markets behave for the rest of the week. Thursday being this being a truncated week, Thursday is a holiday. So 22,500 on the downside share will be something that I will closely monitor because if these levels are broken, my sense is market will again claw back to the lower end of the range, which is 22,300, 22,200 on the downside. So 22,500 for me right now is a very crucial support area. That could be the make or break zone for the Nifty. On the upside, again, if I draw a trend line, as I mentioned, joining the highs from October, November 2023, I get an upward sloping trend line. And market every time tests that trend line. And today also it did the same, just barely broke out of that trend line and again back inside the trend line. So 22,750 on the upside for me is a major resistance for the Nifty till the time that is taken out decisively and Nifty closes above that. I'll just remain sideways as far as Nifty is concerned. Rather, maybe if I get an opportunity to short the index below 22,500, I'll look to do so for a target of 22,300, 22,200 on the downside. Having said that, Bank Nifty is something which had been underperforming big time. There was a new all-time high due on the Bank Nifty. We got that in trade today, but again, it couldn't cross and sustain above 49,000 odd levels. And from there, we've seen a decent amount of profit booking in the banking space, and especially the PSU names. There are select private sector banks which still stand tall. Maybe they're underperformers. So there could be some bit of a rally or juice, I would say, left still in some of the private sector banks, and that can play out names like ICICI Bank, maybe a Kotak also, and something like an Axis Bank, which is underperformed big time, can also chip in somewhat. So overall, I believe it's better to look at a bank Nifty if you want to trade, buy on declines, maybe closer to about 48,400, 48,500 for a target of 49,000 and beyond. And on the Nifty, I would right now avoid getting into a long trade at least at the moment.
Okay. Aditya, metal space that's been in the hot and in the thick of action right now. Many stocks hitting multi-year highs, including stocks like Hindustan Copper and SAIL. They're trading at over 12-year high levels as well. Many of the stocks even, looking at double-digit gains in today's trading session. Across the board, there is buying. Hindustan Zinc up 9.5%, Hindustan Copper up 9%, Vedanta, Nalco, SAIL, NMDC, Tata Steel. We're spoiled for choice with the kind of move that we are looking at over here. Would you like to chase this momentum? Is it sustainable? That's the question that most of the traders will be asking. How would you really advise them now?
Sakshi, I believe this is one question which has been asked time and again that will the rally in the metal stocks continue? And we've been seeing this rally for some time now. There are a bunch of analysts who come out and say that no, there is a slowdown in China, the rally will not sustain, and you will again see a dip. This is just a dead cat bounce. But hey, hello, we are here and markets are rallying and stocks are rallying and metal stocks are rallying to point it out. And I believe these will stay. We see a fresh breakout on the metal index, and I believe there are a whole host of stocks, as you mentioned, you're spoiled for choices, which are going up. Some are up in double digits, some are not up in double digits. I think it's time to look at the ones which have not participated. They can still go up from current levels. I see a decent upside left in a lot of these stocks. To name few, JSW Steel is one, I believe, which still has decent room on the upside, can easily test levels of 920 to about 950. This is one trade. If you missed out, you can play that trade. I look at Hindalco and Tata Steel. I believe both the stocks will participate now. We've seen a rally in the mid cap or the maybe the smaller stocks like Hindustan Copper and Hindustan Zinc and names like that. But I believe it's time to look at Tata Steel also. That can also bounce back, though it's cool off from the day's high. I think even from current levels, if you buy the stock, you can see a decent 4 to 5% upside. And same holds true for Hindalco. I believe even if you buy at current levels, Hindalco, you will see a decent 4 to 5% upside, if nothing more. On the upside, stock can easily test levels of around 620, 630 for more of a positional trade on metal.
Okay, so that's as far as the metal action is concerned, and the top stocks where Aditya is keeping a keen eye out on, and where you can still look at a whole host of moves you can see and sense from here too. Let's also talk about the other buzzing space, and that is the real estate space as well. Of course, a whole host of business updates came in. They were positive. Many real estate players have surpassed the guidance in terms of bookings and sales that they had for FY24. Even now, constantly newer projects are being announced. The moment they are announced, they are also announcing, sales, especially when it comes to the luxury spaces. Especially stocks like Purvankara today, about 15-16% of a move is what we have seen. And we've seen a lot of stock name rotation over here. First, it was Macrotech developers, then it was stocks like Prestige Estates, and now Purvankara is taking the top spot. It's now up 18.6% in trade. We pointed out on this stock in the morning trade. How would you really look at these shifting moves in the real estate, and which is the next stock on your radar now?
Oh, absolutely bang on, Sakshi. You've hit the nail. There's a shift that's happening in the real estate pack. Now, if you see the companies which are coming up with their updates, they are seeing a big upside in 1 or 2 days. Godrej Properties, yesterday we saw that sharp spike. Today, a follow-up move on Godrej Properties. There's a bit of a cool off from the top, but I still believe there is more room on the upside as far as Godrej Properties is concerned. We have a target of 2850 on the upside with a good support on the downside at 2650, 2640 levels. You spoke about Purvankara, a massive up move in trade today, backed by extremely healthy volumes as well. So I believe Purvankara's up move is likely to continue. Maybe if you want to get into the stock now, you're a little late. Stock is already up 19%. Wait for a cool off maybe in trade tomorrow. If you get a stock 5 to 6% lower, it will be a good idea to latch onto the stock because on the upside, it's a fresh, clean breakout. We're looking at a target of 350 on the upside. DLF at the moment could be an avoid for me. If it cools down furthermore, you see a decline of 2 to 3%, then maybe I would be interested in the DLF.
Okay.
Okay, that's the view coming in on the real estate space. Let's look at stocks which are bouncing fairly sharply from long-term lows, and one of them today is SBI Card. This is accompanied by a sharp burst in volume as well. The price that you see of about 750 has bounced from its lowest level in July of 2022. So it's somewhere in the vicinity of about an 18-month low, and the stock has gone up very, very rapidly. 750 for you. This is the price which was last seen on 25th of January. Let's get Mr. Agarwal's view on it. Would you track SBI, Aditya, SBI Cards?
Yes, absolutely, Shail. In fact, as a disclaimer, this is one stock which has been recommended to our clients as well, and day before yesterday only it was recommended. There was a good development on the chart setup. There was a big divergence which was building up. As you mentioned, stock was on a downward spiral, and if I plot an RSI on that, it had started forming a higher lows, and while price continued to make a lower low. So that was a positive divergence on the stock, and a casing point for a breakout once it breaks out of that zone of 720. So I do track, and I believe there is still room on the upside. 780 is the first target that we are playing with on the stock. If 780 is crossed, I believe stock can test levels of 830 as well on the upside. It's a very underowned, very underperformed stock, so there is still room on the upside. If you missed out on the opportunity to get onto the stock, you can still buy the stock with the stop loss at 720 and look for a target of 780 to 830 on the upside.
Okay, what's really interesting is that the price as of now is somewhere in the vicinity of the IPO price which came in 2021 of August. So this is, ladies and gentlemen, an area where probably long-term investors should be purchasing this stock. In this day and age where almost all indices are hitting record highs on a regular basis, here is a stock which is available at multi-month lows and somewhere around its IPO price, which was launched in middle of 2021. So 750 rupees in a digital industry where everybody is getting into online payments. So this is a zone which is meant for long-term investors. 750 SBI Cards for you. available at below IPO price. And what's more interesting, the breakouts that have happened on very strong volumes. SBI cards can be looked into as part of a portfolio addition. Of course, please also take a view from an independent financial advisor. This is a blue chip company that should be a part of your long-term portfolio, given the fact that how aspirational India has started spending digitally, and of course card payments are dramatically on the rise. You just have to read the RBI monthly bulletin on how card payments are growing up over the last many months, and it will give you an idea as to how this particular stock may behave over the next 2 or 3 months. The other stock which I've never failed to mention is Indigo. I think we have a fresh high again today. Yes, 36.32. So one stock at a multi-year low and one stock at a record high. Aditya, your views on Indigo?
There is a fresh breakout, as you mentioned, and I think it's a good time if you want to buy the stock even at current levels. You can definitely add it even for a trading bet at current levels. Look for a target of 37.50 on the upside, a good support. It actually, sure, it came down to test its neckline from where it had broken out around 3,500 odd levels. And I believe stock from here on should easily inch higher. So 37.50 is the first target that I'm eyeing. If that is also taken out in a day or two, maybe 38.20 is the next level that I'll be eyeing on. On the downside, even if you see a decline, intraday dip closer to about 35.50, it will be add on declines with a stop loss just below 3,500. And I believe the news flow also that the Vistara flights are getting cancelled can benefit Indigo. So we'll see a good upside and a decent uptick in the stock as well.
Absolutely. Some of the stocks that are in the trajectory of an all-time high, if not already hit them, are the power space. Remember, over the last week or so, the intensity of the summer, especially in North India, has increased dramatically, and power consumption already at record high is growing by leaps and bounds. Aditya, what would be your top pick as far as power is concerned, and any view that you would hold on Tata Power?
So that is the stock share, which is the top bet within the power space for me. Tata Power continues to make new highs, and in trade today also, I believe stock has hit a new all-time high. Even at current levels, if you're holding on to the stock from lower levels, definitely continue to hold with a trailing stop loss close to about 410, 415, and look for a target of at least 475 on the stock from here on. If you want a fresh entry in the stock, I believe still you can look at getting into the stock even after a decent rally. Look at the volumes today after a good consolidation share. What is interesting is stock went into a corrective phase, a minor correction, I can say, as you can see on the charts, a U rounding bottom kind of a correction, and there was no volume there. And in trade today, we're seeing a very good volume build up in the stock. So that clearly tells that the up move here, which has started today, is likely to continue in the coming trading sessions as well. So if you're looking for a fresh entry in the stock within the power space, definitely this is one that I would bet on for a target of 475 on the upside with a good support on the downside at 420. The second stock will be a CG Power that has been ripping apart, and off late we have seen a decent correction in the stock. So it's come to good support level, CG Power as well. So from here on, it offers a good risk to reward ratio after a cool off in the stock. So with a support at 480, I believe it's a good buy for a target of 550 on the upside.
Okay, so that's as far as the power space is concerned. The other space that I'll draw your attention to, Aditya, is the entire healthcare basket. We're looking at Apollo Hospitals again topping the charts. It cooled off for a period of time, but it is one stock that if it starts moving, there are many days that it continues to sustain its move. And we're also seeing several other pockets from the healthcare pack that are looking in momentum. Say, for example, the diagnostic space, one after the others. There are several stocks that are coming up on the screens showing some action. And of course, the smaller and the mid-cap pharma names as well. How are you looking at this pharma story unfold? Is there promise on the technical charts on any stocks that you can share with us?
Definitely, Sakshi. I believe it's a mixed bag. Let's talk of pharma first. I can't pick the entire pharma pack from within the pharma space, but there are a few stocks which definitely look very strong on the chart setup. To name few, DV's Lab is something that looks very interesting. Again, as a disclosure, this is one stock which has been recommended to our clients. We believe at current levels, one can definitely look at adding DV's Lab for a target of 3,900 on the upside. The second is Ipca Laboratories. That is also something which is looking very solid on the chart setup. Yesterday, we had a bit of a cool off, and today's stock is again back up and running above its yesterday's high. So even at current levels, if you're looking to get onto DV's Lab, you can definitely add for a target of 1,400 on the upside. And the third from the pharma pack would be a Biocon. That too looks very interesting on the chart setup after a good run-up. Stock again saw a pullback, and current levels it offers again a good risk to reward, Sakshi, with a good support at 265 on the downside. I believe stock can test levels of 290, 300 on the upside. Now, talking of the diagnostic space, there too we are seeing a good traction. Dr. Lal Path Lab and a Metropolis, both are looking very interesting on the charts. If we talk of Metropolis first, definitely I believe stock is looking interesting at current levels, offer a good risk to reward. One can definitely look to add the stock for a target of 2,000. And there's an underperformance in the entire diagnostic space. I believe that is something which will go away very soon. These stocks will start participating. So at current levels, as we speak, I believe Metropolis also making highs, day highs. So with a stop loss at 1,700 on the downside, look for a target of 2,000 on the upside. And apart from that, Narayana Hrudayalaya is something which is also looking very interesting on the chart setup. We saw a good run up in trade yesterday. I think stock still has more room on the upside. Stock can easily test levels of 1,500 as well. So Narayana Hrudayalaya and Metropolis will be the two top bets within the diagnostic space. And yes, Apollo Hospital, as you mentioned, definitely looks very strong. If one wants to go with a BTST trade, I would strongly recommend Apollo Hospital for a target of 6,800 on the upside with a stop loss at 6,400 on the downside.
Okay, 6,800 target, 6,400 stop loss. Apollo Hospitals can be picked out as a BTST trade, and several other stocks that are being spoken of from the healthcare and the pharma pack at large right now. Let's again look at some of the other movers and shakers. From the small cap basket, again, there are a lot of stocks that are moving up in trade today. Stocks like Castrol, which we hardly mention sometimes, that's up and about in trade. Century Textiles is up 5% higher. IFL Finance, of course, it's on the recovery path, so it's constantly been recovering. You also have stocks like Exide and Amara Raja batteries that continue to be in momentum. NBCC is up by 2% odd. And you also have stocks like Tejas Networks that are back in action, Alok Industries back in action, some chemical names like Himadri Specialty Chemicals. These kind of strong stocks, actually all of them in momentum right now. Any of the stocks that really strike your attention at this point from the small cap space where you would like to continue to chase some momentum?
The first one will be Castrol that you spoke of. It's a very interesting looking chart, Sakshi. And after a good consolidation, today is one day that we're witnessing a good 8-9% up move in the stock. I would like to draw attention. What is very interesting is from 2015, stock was just in a downward spiral. And if I join the highs from the 2015 high point, I get a downward sloping trend. And from there, we had a massive breakout in the stock backed by extremely healthy volumes. So I believe the up move that we have seen in Castrol from around 140 odd levels is just the start of the up move. There is still more room on the upside. I believe 260 is something that can be easily tested on Castrol. So more of a positional trade, because if you're looking at a small to mid cap name, so at 224, add the stock with a good support at 200 on the downside for a target of 260 plus. So this is one stock which is looking very interesting. Second, I would like to draw attention on EIH Hotel and EIH. So this is one segment which is looking very interesting, and I believe stock has been continuously making higher highs, higher lows. Again, in trade today as we speak, stock is up and running. Even at current levels, if one looks to add EIH, I believe one can do so. 490 looks little overbought, but I still believe there's strong up move which is going on in the stock. So stock can easily test levels of 550 on the upside with a good support on the downside at 460 odd levels. So these are the two stocks that I would focus on as far as a quick up move is concerned.
Where do investors and particularly traders need to be very cautious on the long side is Hindustan Zinc. While we have a blowout in terms of price, the counters now up at 394, almost 14% higher. What's really interesting is the volume that you see, 533 crores. This is the highest that we've ever witnessed since 12th May 2021. So that's easily, how should I say, about a 30-month high, and the price is at a breakneck speed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of gains, and of course today being a blowout. The price is at 393. We'll do away with the technical check. It becomes a little difficult for this kind of a sustenance, but this is brought to your attention to be very careful on the long side. Probably the has sort of not offering the right risk reward ratio. What else is moving? If gold and silver are at record highs, then can multi commodity exchange be anywhere else except in the green? Would you be tracking MCX, Aditya?
Absolutely, Shell. I'm tracking MCX very closely and was just about to mention MCX when you mentioned MCX. Looks very good on the chart setup. It's a fresh breakout from a downward sloping trend line, Shell. I believe one can, and the volume also is looking very interesting on the breakout. So looks like a sustainable up move that we have on the chart setup. I'm looking for a target of 3,900 to about 4,000 on the upside from current levels, and a very beautiful just it's broken out from that consolidation. So 3,600 will be a stop loss on the downside, and looking for a target of 3,900 to about 4,000 on the upside. A very good trade to take. Again, one more candidate for a BTSD, I believe, MCX also.
Okay, we are almost close to 3 p.m. Let's just do a detour into the markets. The Nifty, as we had pointed out today, early morning before markets open, are in a zone of profit booking. Because it was the festival, you could have booked out your earlier gains. And at the moment, 20 points lower, 22,650 for you. The Nifty Bank still going strong, 127 points higher, 48,710. A lot of selling pressure was witnessed on the Nifty IT index. Remember, during the day it was somewhere like 470 points higher. Now absolutely flat, 35,080 for you, just 13 points in the uptick, but like I said, a lot of selling pressure seen across the board in the IT index. This is the broader space that we are looking at. The advanced decline ratio for the moment in the broader markets is now favoring the bears. 1363 shares in the red compared with 741 in the green. So it's a ratio of 1:2 in against the bulls. We tracked 19 indices for you. Only about 3 of them are showing any decent gains, which is the metals, the realty, and the Nifty Financial Services Index. The rest of them are in profit booking. Remember, we are on T-1 as far as the Nifty and the Bank Nifty are concerned. This is a truncated week. Therefore, you see Thursday being a holiday and Nifty's weekly expiry being pulled a day in advance to match the Bank Nifty expiry. Hindustan Zinc refuses to listen. Now it's at the highest of the day, 394.75, 14.6% higher. We are waiting for Mr. Nitesh Jain, AVP for Technical Research at Centrum Broking, to join us. In the meantime, I'll also mark a couple of shares that are buzzing as far as volumes are concerned, and that should be a sign as to what to look forward to. Okay, Canfin Homes is an interesting stock to mark. The counter is 1% higher, and the volume of 27.8 lakh shares is 7 times the 5-day average. We have KSB Pumps. This is something that I had highlighted. The board meets today to discuss the stock split. Needless to say, this is at a record high, about 4% higher, and the volumes are 6 times the average. Exide Industries, yesterday's 19% candidate is up 2.5% today. Volumes even today are fairly substantial, 6% higher, about 5.59 crore rupees. Sugar stocks have started to move. Renuka 43.75, 2% higher. There is a breakout on the first resistance as far as Renuka is concerned, and Balrampur Chini 391.90, 1.5% higher. Sakshi.
Okay, let's again look at some of the other stocks that are buzzing in trade. Of course, the market breadth is turning negative as of now when we look at several sectors. Now, the Nifty and the Sensex, and beyond that, the Nifty Next 50 is in the red now. The mid caps are in the red. You have the auto space that's in the red right now. Oil and gas, FMCG, consumer durables, PSU banks, media. These are the indices that are down in trade as of now. Only about 4 to 5 sectors that are still holding on to some gains, and a large part of the gains are limited to the metal space, royalty space, and slight gains that are coming in on the small caps and the private banking space as of now. Let's again look at some of the stocks that we can mention in terms of the gainers and the losers list as far as the mid and the small caps are concerned. So like I mentioned, as far as the small cap movers are concerned, you do have a lot of stocks like Indian Energy Exchange that's coming back in action. Some of the sugar space stocks like Sri Renuka Sugars is again holding up some momentum. Data Patterns is another one that's moving up about 1.5% higher for this one. Then you do have stocks like RR Kabel that's moving up. You have stocks like First Source Solutions that continues to hold up right from the morning trade. JBM Auto that sprung up. Then you have Nippon Life from the life insurance basket that's moving up. GSPL is also moving up in trade as of now. So these are some of the stocks that are buzzing in action. Right, so let's welcome our guest on the show. I think we do have Nitesh Jain now with us. He is the AVP of Technical Research at Centrum Broking. He's joining right in. Very good afternoon to you, Nitesh. Thank you so much for taking the time out. Do tell us where are you keeping your eyes out on in terms of the specific stocks that you can share with our viewers today.
Very good afternoon to you, Sakshi. So if you look at the overall breadth of the market, it's slightly turned into on a negative side. Although the structure for the Nifty continues to remain on a positive side with a buy and decline approach. So we'll wait as far as index is concerned to dip towards 20,600 or 22,550 to make a fresh long in the index. But stock specific action we believe is likely to continue. The one stock that we have on a buy side is Bharat Electric Limited, that is BEL. So this particular counter has been in an uptrend and constantly forming a high up and high bottom formation. So this particular counter can be bought keeping stop loss below 222, that is 222. So that should be the stop loss, and upside is open for 235 and 238. So that's the one stock that we are liking as of now. Apart from that, the other stock is Devyani International. So this is another stock that today we have witnessed a good price and volume breakout, and this particular counter looks positive for 170 to 175. Stop loss can be placed below 160.
Okay. Right, so these are the two stock ideas that Nilesh has shared with us. We'll keep an eye out on this. But Nilesh, how are you looking at the index Nifty Bank, so to speak, as we inch closer to the weekly expiry now? How would you really advise, traders and investors to move on both the Nifty and the Nifty Bank now? At the start of this series, it looked like Nifty Bank is going to be showing a lot of promise. It's turned volatile now. What's next?
Right, Sakshi. So the volatility has certainly increased, but if you look at the Bank Nifty index specifically, it is still outperforming compared to the Nifty index. And looking at the recent breakout that we saw recently, the Bank Nifty index in the spot level broke out from a symmetrical triangle formation, and the target for the same comes around somewhere around 50,000. So we still have another 1,200 to 1,300 point on the upside. And I would be surprised if we see those levels in the very near term. Maybe in the April series, we see Bank Nifty to move towards 50,000 mark. So overall, the structure looks positive, can be bought on declines. We are also focusing on the banking counters like ICICI Bank, Federal Bank. So these are the two specific counters within the banking space that are looking positive on the chart. And as far as index is concerned, as we mentioned, looks positive of 49,200 on immediate basis and 50,000 as a positional target. This particular index can be bought on declines towards 48,500 to 48,400. The major support is placed at 48,000. So that was the breakout level. So 48,000 should be the stop loss on the closing basis. So Bank Nifty, yes, from today's expiry point of view, we expect a positive expiry in the range of 48,700 to 48,900.
Okay. Good afternoon to you, Nilesh. And it's the broking community that's doing very well on the markets, the wealth management space. Let me first mark a couple of stocks. The PCR will fire Motilal Oswal Financial Services. There's a digit change. Needless to add, it's at a record high. It's crossed the 2,000 rupee level and is up about 10%. There is an equally strong move on Anand Rathi Wealth. The company has met, the board has discussed a buyback, and that is the reason why You see this very sharp spurt in price in Anand Rathi Wealth as well. Nuvama Wealth has had an upgrade from a very well known brokerage. That's doing extremely well. I believe, Nilesh, it's going to be a year when a lot of good bonuses are going to be given to top performers like you. So what are you going to do with that money?
So Salim ji, first of all, आपके मुंह में ghee and shakkar both, and finger cross if we get this kind of bonus, and definitely we'll invest in the market itself. And see,
Yeah.
today we are witnessing a good momentum in all the broking companies, specifically on the wealth side. So we believe that more bonuses will be given on the wealth
Yes.
side rather than on the retail broking that we are getting into. But anyways, looking at the structure, we feel that there will be further up move to continue, specifically in the counters like Anand Rathi, Motilal Oswal. In fact, all these sort of counters are trading at all-time high levels, and we expect further up move to continue. At least from a short-term point of view, there is still room of another 8 to 10% move on the upside.
Yeah. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of caution needs to be exercised at record high levels. Of course, we mark a lot of stocks which have moved from 2 digits to 3 and from 3 to 4, and within the 4-digit space, they have moved rapidly in the mid-teens. But the fact remains that the price is given to us by the market. We are mere markers of that price, but you need to exercise a lot of caution when approaching stocks that have doubled, tripled, risen 5-6 times over the last 1 year or so, and they continue to show similar enthusiasm for the coming years as well. Wealth creators have been in the form of Anand Rathi Wealth. I remember seeing the IPO in the vicinity of 400-500 rupees. The stock did nothing for about 5-6 months, and then shot up very rapidly. If I remember correctly, the management was with us about 8 odd months ago, and Anand Rathi was at that point of time at 1300 rupees. Let me just reconfirm Anand Rathi Wealth's price somewhere in June of last year. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it was in the vicinity of 800 rupees. From 800 rupees to 3964, and an intraday record high is where the stock has moved. The same story is repeated for Motilal Oswal Financial Securities, Nuvama Wealth, CDSL, Bombay Stock Exchange. So that's the kind of wealth that has been created by wealth managers for their own shareholders. Let's look at some other stocks within the PSU banking space that are doing pretty well. Nilesh, coming to you, Petronet LNG almost now 290, reclaiming its earlier highs. What are the charts of Petronet telling you?
Spotted exactly at the right time. I would say it is giving a fresh breakout, and looking at the structure, I think it is heading towards 300 mark. So that's the immediate target that is looking on the chart from 1 to 2 days point of view. Stop loss can be placed somewhere around today's low, that is 281. So that should be the stop loss. Can be added at current level, keeping price target of 300 on immediate basis and a positional target of 320 or maybe 325. So yes, looks positive on the chart.
Okay, you know what else is buzzing, Nilesh, is the entire sugar space. I had seen Sri Renuka Sugar, but the entire pack is moving in tow now, be it Dhampur, Balrampur, be it Awadh Sugar. The entire space is moving, and there are some reports which I do not have with me as of now, but there are some reports that do indicate that for ethanol, higher allocation of sugar could be possible, and that could be the reason of behind this spike, but we do not have any confirmed reports on that, so we will hold on to finding out whether the news is true or not, or this buzz is true or not. Nilesh, how would you really look at the sugar space?
See, sugar space as a whole is more of a cyclical, and being a commodity space, we see a lot of volatility. So, although right now we are witnessing a positive move, but we are not sure whether it is likely to be a sustainable move. Yes, from trading point of view, we expect a positive move, So counters like Balram Chini, where we might see a follow-up move in the coming session towards 400 or maybe 405. But the major trend, overall trend looks likely on a sideways front, and we can only expect for a pullback to continue. So within this space, Balrampur Chini is looking positive for a pullback towards 400. Stop loss can be placed below 385, and the another stock would be Renuka Sugar, where we expect a pullback to continue towards the 46.5 to 48, and stop loss can be placed below 43.5.
Okay, so that's as far as the entire sugar space is concerned. Of course, it's the entire metal space and the commodity space that's been buzzing, be it precious metals, be it other commodities like copper, for example. That's leading the entire metal move. The oil and gas has been in the thick of action now. You have sugar space that's been moving as well. Anything else in the commodity space that interests you, Nilesh, at this point in time? Do you see it as a move across the space?
Right, Sakshi. So you spoke about the metal space as a whole. So yes, certainly metals are looking positive. Nifty Metal Index has given a good breakout. So we only expect a follow-up move in the counters like Hindalco. So specifically, aluminum space is looking positive. So Hindalco is one of the counter which is looking positive for 610 sort of target on the upside. Stop loss can be placed below 580. So watch out for this particular counter. And apart from that, counters like Steel Authority. So this particular counter is also giving some amount of conviction, and the upside seems to be open up for 155 to 158, and stop loss can be placed below 145. So Steel Authority and Hindalco would be a preferred bet within metal space.
Okay, we are almost now at the last 15-18 minutes of trade. Let me show you some interesting data that's come up in the most active list of the NSE 500 shares. It's been a low trading day, as it was more or less expected. But what's really interesting is the top four, as far as volumes are concerned, are unusual counters. Gland Pharma, of course, there has been a block deal on this one. Therefore, it's the top traded counter. 2,400 crores worth of transactions that have happened. The stock is 3% lower, 1803. Exide Industries, this is very, very interesting. Remember, not only has the price sustained after yesterday's double-digit gain of about 17 to 19%, depending whether you see cash or futures, today the stock is in the green, and more importantly, the volume is substantial. 2,200 crores worth of transactions have been done on Exide, followed by Hind Copper, leading the metal rally, 8% higher, 359 for you. 2,040 crores worth of transactions have happened. And the most interesting stock, ladies and gentlemen, Tata Power, a breakout in price, a breakout in volume at a record high. About 1,500 crores worth of shares have been traded on Tata Power, and this is something that needs to be checked with Nilesh Bhai. Nilesh Bhai, record high. How do Tata Power stocks look to you on the charts?
This particular counter, as a part of disclaimer, I just want to mention that we have also recommended to our client for the upside target of 451. So yes, still looks positive. Today it has hit a fresh record high at current level as well. It can be added, and the stop loss for the long trade should be placed below 414, and upside seems to be open up for 451 on immediate basis. And positionally, the stock has a potential to move towards 500 sort of levels. Maybe it will take some more time, maybe in the range of 3 to 6 months, one can look for 500 sort of target. But yes, certainly this particular counter is looking strong on the chart.
Okay, and the other view that you now need to give on is Apollo Hospitals, 3% higher, 6,500. Do we see a record high on the charts?
At current level, it looks like it is heading towards 6,800. The previous all-time high level is somewhere placed around 6,850. So yes, it seems quite possible in the next 4 to 5 trading sessions. Looking at today's reversal and also volume activity, it looks like it is giving a good breakout. Yes, one can add this particular counter at current level, keeping stop loss below 6,400. And it may move towards 6,700 to 6,800 in the near term.
Okay, we'll do a recce on the PSU space as well. We've discussed a lot of metal counters within the public sector basket. Let's also look at stocks that have moved up sharply but are not a part of the metals pack. Hemisphere Properties, this is the property arm of erstwhile VSNL and current Tata Communications, 215.40, 2.4% higher. We have a strong move coming into Gas Authority of India, 204 rupees, fresh record high, 1.7% higher. Container Corporation is buzzing at about 924.30. This is 1.4% higher. The likes of BEL, 228, again a record high, 2% higher. LIC Housing Finance, a percent higher, 652. HUDCO, 1.2% higher, 211. And of course, you have UCO Bank, 1% higher, 56.40. Sakshi.
Right. Nilesh, I also wanted to understand from you, how are you technically placing your bets on the IT space right ahead of the earnings season as it kickstarts starting Friday? Of course, there is a quiet action when it comes to the large caps, TCS, Infosys. Infosys, of course, did some uptick today, and it is right now hovering about 1% higher in trade ahead of the earnings. But the broader markets is where the action has remained. Even in the morning trade today, we had stocks like Birla, Softco, Forge, Emphasis buzzing in action. Where exactly are you keeping your focus as far as the IT space is concerned?
See, IT out of the numbers are looking slightly under pressure. Although we have witnessed multiple attempts of a pullback, but these pullbacks are not sustainable. And today as well, we have seen a good rebound in the Infosys, this particular counter, but it seems like it is getting sold into. If you look at the Nifty IT index as a whole, it is currently hovering at 35,100, and it is constantly facing resistance near about 35,500 mark. So that is again a gap area as well. So as long as it trades below 35,500, we can expect another round of selling. And in the lower side, it may test the levels of 34,800 to 34,500. The 200 exponential moving average for Nifty IT index is placed somewhere around 34,000. So looking at the overall structure, we expect sideways to a negative move in the IT space as of now. Specifically large cap ITs, it is better to avoid taking any contra bet for the time being till the time we get any clarity. So yes, it's an avoid for the time being.
Okay, avoid for the time being as of now. We've been celebrating the milestone 75,000 right from morning in trade today as far as Sensex is concerned. There are 4 companies that really led maximum contribution in that gain on the Sensex from 70,000 to 75,000. And these stocks were Reliance Industries, State Bank of India, Bharti Airtel and TCS. Since IT you've already talked about, would you have a view on Reliance and SBI and the way they could be contributing going forward from here in the next leg of milestone journey?
Absolutely, Sakshi. So, Reliance Industries, this particular counter has been in an uptrend, and after today's profit booking, I think it is again giving a good opportunity from a risk and reward point of view. The 50-day moving average support is exactly placed at 2925, and that's the low of today for Reliance Industries. I think it may rebound from here. It's a good opportunity, and on the upside, it may test the levels of 3100 to 3200 in the very short run. So yes, this particular counter can be added from trading as well as positional point of view. SBI is another stock where we are bullish on, and our price target is somewhere around 850. So yes, it's again a good portfolio stock within PSU banking space. If somebody has to pick only one stock, that would be SBI. Keeping stop loss below 735, SBI can be added on declines. Immediate target comes around 800 and positional target comes around 850.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's mark Hindustan Zinc again. It is in absolutely no mood to listen to common sense and how should I say sensibility. The counters now crossed 400. It's 17% higher at about 403. Its compatriot from the same group, Vedant, is 5% higher at 338.8, and it's a race to the finish. We had the last 10 minutes of trade in front of us. Let's see what Hindustan Zinc brings up. Now 405 rupees 5 paisa. Every price tick is going great guns. Let's get Nilesh into this conversation, and at that point of time, Nilesh, let me just check what the circuit limit on Hindustan Zinc is. Meantime, your view.
So I've never seen this kind of move in Hindustan Zinc. It is up in this month. Hardly we are 6 to 7 trading
Yes.
session has been passed. It is already up 38, 39%. So this is something crazy move that we have witnessed in Hindustan Zinc. At current level, it is not advisable to chase this counter. The risk and reward is certainly not favorable. So those who are already holding the long position can keep a trailing stop loss below 390 and ride this particular momentum. But for fresh entry, I think if somebody is looking to make a fresh entry, better wait for some dip towards 380 to 370. And if you have missed the rally, then it is better to avoid.
Absolutely, it's always better to avoid. Remember, Hindustan Zinc is not available in options trades. Otherwise, I would have suggested we take a look at its most active ITM put. But for the moment, it seems today's journey will progress towards 413.25, which is the 20% circuit limit. Coming to options, I'd also again like to mark the 21,700 Fin Nifty call expiring 9th of April, ladies and gentlemen. It's now at 11 paisa. So this is how options need to be tracked, and it needs to be done. I think we are showing the wrong call, PCR. It should be 21,700 call. It should be right there at 11 paisa for you. Yes, 15 paisa. Remember, we started marking it at about 34 rupees in the morning, and this is how option premia theta decay happen on expiry day. Tomorrow we'll give you a taste of what can happen on the Nifty as well as Bank Nifty, but for the moment that's how the cookie is as far as Fin Nifty is concerned. Absolutely flat close on the index, somewhere like 21,700. Remember, this was the best performing index within the FNO space over the last 1 week, up 1.7%. In the last moment of trade, it's the sugar stocks that have started moving. We've discussed some of them, but one is EID Parry, 611 rupees. A lot of hidden value also in EID Parry because of its holding company nature. To you, Nilesh, any views that you would want to share on EID Parry?
So yes, today we have witnessed a strong momentum in this particular counter, and it has a potential to move towards 625 to 630. But it is not advisable to chase again at a higher level. Better wait for some dip towards 600. Keep a stop loss below 590, and the upside seems to be open for 620 to 625.
Okay. Well, Nilesh, several other spaces that warrant your attention too. One is the banking space, especially the private banks and the financial services space that's buzzing in action, especially stocks like ICICI Bank that are coming back in flavor, 1.9% higher in trade. There are second rung stocks also that are moving up, like Federal Bank, an RBL Bank or a City Union Bank. What one wants to know at this point in time is that whether this move will be sustainable as far as the large private banks are concerned, because of the severe underperformance that we've actually seen over the last 6-8 months odd. Now that the momentum is coming back, how sustainable does it look on the charts?
So Sakshi, if you look at the Bank Nifty chart, we have seen a lot of underperformance in the past 3 to 4 expiries compared to the Nifty index. But now looking at the triangle breakout and recent momentum, I think Bank Nifty is likely to outperform as far as April series is concerned. So this particular move might be led by ICICI Bank. So this particular counter today, it has again given a good symmetrical triangle breakout, and the upside seems to be open for 1130 to 1150. And if somebody is taking a fresh long entry at current level, keep a stop loss below 1090. So yes, ICICI Bank looks positive on the chart. We have already seen a momentum recently in HDFC Bank, and it is still looking positive for further up move to continue towards 1580 to 1600. So on the back of participation from the index heavyweight counters like HDFC and ICICI, I think Bank Nifty is likely to outperform and move towards 49,500 to 50,000.
Okay. Any BTST trades or STBT trades that you'd like to highlight now? We're just 5 minutes away from the day's trade close.
Right. So one stock that has just came on my radar, that is MCX. So this particular counter, if you look at the derivative data, 5% fresh OI has been added. So long build-up is happening towards closing, and it looks good for BTST trade for the upside target of 3760 to 3800, and the stop loss can be placed below 3690 on the closing basis. 3800 to 3050 is the zone where we might see MCX to retest.
Okay, fair enough. So that's the BTSC trade that you're looking at. How would you advise investors and traders to prepare for tomorrow now, Nilesh? Keeping in mind that Thursday will be an off for the markets, and we'll be looking at one day before expiry.
Right, so it's a truncated week, and we expect some volatility to increase tomorrow, and we expect Nifty to oscillate in the range of 28,500 to 28,800, 20 to 800. And although we have seen a sort of a profit booking at the high levels, but the major structure are still on a positive side. Today, in spite of such a high volatile day, the volatility index India week pulled off 2.5% to end at to trade somewhere around 11.3, and this is still giving very much comfort to the bulls. So looking at this kind of structure, I think any dip from here could be a good opportunity to take a long entry in both Nifty and Bank Nifty. But as far as comfort is concerned, we are more convinced with the structure of the Bank Nifty compared to the Nifty index, and we are advising to remain stock specific since the indexes are trading at elevated level. So it is advisable to focus on sectors and stocks.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 3:27. Let's wrap today's day. It's Tuesday, and it's the Nifty that's paused for a bit, 18 points lower, 22,650 for you. After a very sharp run up over the last 3 odd trading sessions, the index has paused. And let's look at the stocks that have contributed to this kind of a muted environment. As far as prices are concerned, it is Reliance that's pulled the index lower by 36 points, L&T and TCS respectively by 6 points each, and Titan by 7 points. Stocks that helped the Nifty move up were ICICI Bank, the counter 2% higher. It contributed to an uptick of 35 points for the Nifty. Infosys contributed 18 points. Apollo Hospitals, Hindalco and Axis points roughly 5, 4 and 3. On a net level, the index is ending negative 26 points lower. The Nifty Bank 120 points higher, 48,710. It's the IT index that's been seeing a lot of profit booking. In the morning it was up about 470 points, now ending almost flat, 35,131. The star for the show today was the metals index, gaining very, very rapidly. Needless to say, this was a record high, 1.5% higher, 88.92. The realty index about 0.5% higher, 956. We tracked 19 indices for you. Of the 19, only 4 or 5 managed to end in gains. In terms of top losers, the index that lost the most was the PSU banking index, 0.7% lower, 71.89. Overall, a day that went to the bears. If you see the advanced decline ratio, 1,393 shares ended in the red compared with 741. It was a day that was led by metal counters, about a 17% uptick on Hindustan Zinc, a 9% uptick on Hindustan Copper, National Aluminium Steel Authority, Tata Steel, JSW Steel, you name a metal counter in the cash or in the F&O space, they shone very rapidly and very brightly. Apart from that, it was the real estate space led by Godrej Properties, DLF, Purvankara up 20%, which shown rapidly across the market space. So it's sectoral rotation that's happening across the board, and about 23 stocks out of NSE 500 hit a record high in trade today. Among them are Indigo, Tata Power, Soba Developers, Anand Rathi Securities, Torrent Power, Zomato, Gas Authority and Tata Steel. Sakshi.
Right, with that, many thanks Nilesh for being with us onto this very special edition. Truly appreciate your presence with us, and here's hoping you have a fantastic time ahead till the next on air. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we wind down this special edition, but do stay logged on to Business Today TV, as action will continue on your screens with regards to news and coverage from the world of business and finance. Until then, many thanks for tuning in.